Good morning, Bitcoin Live members. It's Bob Lucas. It is Monday morning in New York. I hope you're well. Welcome to another week of trading and looking at Bitcoin here. We're waiting for a cycle low to form. It is now well past the average midpoint for that turn, and now it's just a matter of, can Bitcoin turn? Can it continue that beautiful uptrend that began here in December with those December lows? Does that December low on a longer time frame mean some type of significant bottom, and 2020 being kind of that beginning of that next big move up in the 4-year cycle? That's how I've been looking at Bitcoin. I'm going to start with the weekly, in fact. So give you a bit of backdrop. Again, I know you've probably heard this quite a few times, but essentially this is my long-term thesis. 4-year cycle low back in December of 2018, now 14 months ago. Big shootout of the bear market low, took a lot of people by surprise, reversion back, and then a sell-off to the other side of the extreme side of things. This here felt like another bear market for so many people because they missed that first move in, FOMO'd in at the end, held out here, and essentially puked out their positions. If you look at altcoins did very little in general during this big move up in 2019. They suffered again in this decline, but altcoins have done really well of late, signaling perhaps that overall from a crypto market standpoint, we are now finally entering into that new bull phase. We had a beautiful 60% rally right here. We caught some of that as well, back above a 10-week moving average. 10-week moving average is now trending higher. So in a 4-year cycle standpoint, this shakeout here should serve now for a new meaningful multi-60-day cycle rally during 2020, going higher and higher and higher. Each low should be significantly higher and above the previous low, and that's the uptrend that we're looking for. This is the thesis, at least, that I'm working off of. If Bitcoin continues low at some point, now I think it's going to rally in a new cycle, but if it turns and doesn't make a new high and turns lower and gets below this December 2019 low, I think there would be something structurally wrong with Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to get there, but it's something that everybody needs to be mindful of. I think that would be a significant concern for me, considering where we are in the 4-year cycle, considering we're 14, 15 months removed now from the big December lows. That would be a concern. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to continue up and higher and look at that nice big arcing, trending 4-year cycle I've been talking about. So with that in mind, and the fact now that we're on day 73 of the cycle that started in December 16th or 15th, somewhere in that area, and has now looked like it may be forming a low. It's not a guarantee, but a lot of the pieces are now beginning to come into play or into place for a new cycle rally. We've had a nice decline here, retracement. From a Fibonacci standpoint, it's come back to sort of to the 50% level. We're now back slightly below the 10-week moving average, which is okay in an uptrend, but you don't see it sit below a 10-week moving average for long. So now is the time for Bitcoin to say, okay, let's start to rally. I've gone long. I sent an alert out. By the time you listen to this, it may be hours removed. But I've gone long here on the look of a new cycle low. Let's go to a daily chart. I'll tell you what I'm seeing. So we have a new low yesterday. So the new candle here made a slight new low. We had a number of different lows that took some people out. People were too long and leveraged all the way down here, but I think finally here, sentiment kind of went back to neutral here after this nice 60% rally. Cycle-wise, timing, day 73, again, stretched, looking for a cycle low. Looking at the RSI now, has turned. It had some divergence here, but now it is now leading. Cycle indicator says that we are well and truly due to turn. So I think we're going to see a rally. I'm positioned here for a rally. I've gone long. I'm using the low of yesterday as my stopping point. And now it's just a matter of, can the market deliver? Are we correct on a cycle? Again, that's now not in our hands. That's in the hands of the market. We need to now manage a position whenever we go long and see what the market can give. If the market reverses from here and takes out yesterday's low, then so be it. We get out and reassess, and we take our we take our punishment or our pain, so to speak, and we move on to the next trade. But this, from a setup standpoint, this looks good because if we zoom in, you look at the candle here. So what we look at for a swing is we look at the lowest point. So this yesterday's candle is the lowest point, and the high for that candle, at least on Bitstamp here, is 87.56. We draw a line across that. So we now have exceeded the high point of yesterday's candle. That is a swing low. Now we want to see, to make it official and make it bullish, we really want to see that on a closing basis. Now, the problem with Bitcoin is that we know it can jump 5 and 8 and 10% in any given day. For traditional assets, I normally in this case would wait for a close above this level to confirm the swing, and then I would enter my position. Don't have that luxury as much with Bitcoin because, again, like I said, it can be at 91, 9200 even by today, for example, or even higher than that. And you end up basically creating too much of a spread between your entry and the stop point, and that of course means a much lower or smaller position to accommodate that level of risk. So I've gone long here. I like the setup. No guarantees, guys. This is just how I trade the cycles, how I trade these markets. I'm long here, but I'm also looking for a trend. This isn't a day trade or a trade I'm going to get out next week. I'm looking for the repeat performance or something similar to the rally that we had here. So I'm looking for one of those big gainers where the market from here ends up maybe doing something kind of like this, right? So I'm looking for a move back above 10,000 for this position. In the trending market, I look for big, let's call them home runs. I'm looking for big moves. So I'm okay with getting stopped out. I mean, ideally, we don't want to get stopped out. But if we get stopped out here, then I'll take the next position or the next reversal because I'm looking for one of these sort of 6 times the position or 7 times the risk. 8 times the risk, for example, if we can get up into this 10, 11,000, 12,000 area. I wouldn't look to reduce this position at all until day 30 or day 35 or day 40, because now I'm looking at the possibility of right translated cycles. So right translated cycles meaning if we look 60 days out from where we are today, so we'll look at 2 months from where we are. If the low is March 1st, then we're looking at May 1st, around about 2 weeks before the halving period. That's the next scheduled or expected cycle low. Of course, the variance is pretty wide. It can be 15 trading days before, 15 trading days later. It's a pretty wide band, but let's just say May the 1st is the next area. So halfway point for that, it would be April 1st. So we're looking for a top to occur right translated. So right on the right side of the top of the midpoint. So if we look at day 30 here, day 40 would be around April 10th. Maybe April 15th would be day 45. I'm not looking for a top until that point there. And I'd be looking to hold the position for as long as we can, hopefully up into this $11,000, $12,000, $13,000 area by around April 13th or 15th. Now, again, the chances of that happening, just as I just outlaid for you, are pretty low in general. But something along those lines, a right translated cycle that makes a new high above the prior cycle high, is the expectation. And that's what I'm playing for. And I just need to be in position for that. I need to be patient with that. And let's just see what the market gives us. Now, if it reverses from here, it's a possibility that we're just looking at just an intraday move here, slightly back above yesterday's high, and then it can reverse low and make a new low. That can possibly happen. And if that's the case, again, like I said, we'll take the stop, we'll wait for a new low, we'll wait for a reversal, wait for a swing, and then we'll reassess to see if if we can go long again. But I'm only looking for long right now because I believe the December low, going back to the weekly chart here, I believe this December low is a pullback in an uptrend, right? Now, we don't have really clear evidence of a significant uptrend yet, but I believe that after a 6-month decline and forming a low here, that we're now going to be set with a 4-year cycle in an uptrend. So I am sort of predicting a new uptrend. And for that reason, I think we have enough of a decline, enough of a pullback in an uptrend for us to go long at this position. That's the theory. That's the position. Again, like I said, now it's just a matter of getting into your position and just letting the market, hopefully deliver on what we're looking for. Now, a couple of scenarios for different traders. Now, if you're just a trader, a futures trader, this is a time to get in. You can't wait too much longer because, again, you're trading different leverage, and you want to be able to minimize the amount of spread that you have between your entry and your risk level. If you are a sort of a spot trader, for example, you're going between sort of Bitcoin and USD or whatever currency you trade from, I think again this is a place to get in and then use that candle from yesterday as your stopping point. This is enough of a retracement, in my opinion, to then go long. And then I also mentioned from a hodler standpoint, people who want to maybe use a little bit of margin, not so much futures, but just margin and pick up some more Bitcoin. I think this also, again, is a good spot to go in. And you have a couple of options here. You obviously can use the stop from yesterday here, and that's perfectly fine. You can probably be at 2x at this point, even 3x, and use the stop from here from yesterday because it's pretty tight to go in. The other option is that you can pick up maybe 50% allocation. So if you have one Bitcoin long, so your spot or you're long one Bitcoin, or for every one Bitcoin, you maybe ever add half a Bitcoin on that, right? And then use possibly even the December lows here as a stopping point, saying, you know what, if it gets down below that level, we're in trouble. Something's really going wrong. And that's going back to the weekly chart here. That's kind of this level here. This is a December point. So we've now see evidence of a new uptrend. We see evidence, obviously, that the downtrend from June of 19 to December of 19 has broken and has ended. So we can mark this here as kind of the bull market low, where anything below that point is a concern. So you could add a little bit of margin. And again, you can't add too much because even if you did 1x, a 50% decline would pretty much wipe out your position. So you've got to be really careful here. Even 1x would be too much. But adding some margin, it could just be a quarter of a Bitcoin for every one Bitcoin that you have, or half a Bitcoin. But still, that here would still cost you quite a bit if it was to unfold. But that this is more just for the long-term believer in the 4-year cycle and the possibility that we have ahead of us. So you could add some margin here, and that way you're sort of protecting yourself from one more lower low, or you may even be able to sort of increase this a little bit and say, you know what, let me add it up, let me raise it up to this level here, maybe 6,900 or 7,000, and add the half Bitcoin for every one Bitcoin. So a 50% add-on, or 0.5x add-on for margin. So a number of different ways to play it. You have to understand essentially what your time frame is about, what your objectives are about, what type of trader you are, or what type of investor you are, and add your position accordingly to take advantage of this move. So this is the outlook I have here. This is kind of what I've been patient for, what I've been waiting for. Now, again, it's just a matter of, can the market deliver? Will it deliver? We don't know, but this is the setup that we have. Okay, that is the Bitcoin cycles look. I'm going to look at Ethereum very quickly now. Okay, so it looked like we were having a swing in Ethereum last week. Took a long position. It's slightly underwater, I think around 229 or 230. We came back yesterday all the way down, getting close here, got close to the stop point, but didn't. Bitcoin now looks like it may have a new cycle in play. So might have been early on this position, where we definitely were early on the position, but Bitcoin did form a new low and Ethereum did not. So this is a good sign. Maybe it looks like Ethereum could be leading. Obviously, since the December lows, Ethereum had an absolutely phenomenal run. And if Bitcoin can find its low, find its new cycle, I think Ethereum from here could really do well. Again, depends on Bitcoin cycle. If Bitcoin has a new cycle low and we're rallying now for a right translated cycle, I think Ethereum can easily get up to, I don't know, it's hard to say here, but well into the $300 range based on what it's done historically and just based on the type of rally it had from December. It's consolidated nicely here along the bottom of the Bollinger Bands. I think it can easily come back and take out the highs from last month in mid-February, and then go on and really outperform. Really pointless in doing price targets for something like Ethereum, but when you look at kind of what it did last time, I mean, it did 146% in one cycle. I don't know if you get anything like that, but it just gives you an indication of just what the potential is for something like this. Even a 100% move off the 210 lows gets you up to the 420 level here. So when you look at it from a chart standpoint, 420 up into this range here is certainly something achievable for Ethereum. So positions are in, settled in. It's just a matter of now just locking it in, sitting on your hands, and let's just see if the market can deliver for us. Those are my two positions. That's what I'm looking for right now. There are other altcoins that look good. I appreciate that, understand that. But for me, I don't like to get too wide. They're all so highly correlated. Ethereum looks really good. If the altcoin space is going to rally and do well, I think Ethereum is going to be right there with them all. So I'll just stick with Ethereum. I'll stick with BTC. And let's just see what the market can deliver. Thanks for being here. Have a great week. I'll have another report out either Thursday or Friday, and of course I'll keep you up to date with any alerts. Stops are in. I always respect stops. I never change my stops. If I change them for whatever reason, which is fairly rare, I'll of course let you know, but you always have to assume that if a stop is hit, that the stop is taken. Thanks again, and all the best.